Excuse me for my voice, I had cold for the past 2 weeks now. I know Apple released their M2 lineup for the MacBook Pros just over 6 months ago, but I still wanted to review this 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro that I've been dating over the past 1 year now. Let's face it, even with the M2 MacBook Pros out there, I still think this is an absolute titan. And I would recommend this generation MacBooks to 99% of the people who's looking for a Pro machine. And I will explain why later on in this video. So when the M2 lineup came out, people would naturally question whether they should get the M2 MacBook Pros or whether the M1 MacBook Pros are still good enough. I have used both the 14-inch and the 16-inch M1 MacBook Pros, and out of that I have used the 16-inch the most, and this has been my honest review over the past 1 year I have used this MacBook. I have got the 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro with 10-core CPU, 16-core GPU, 32 gigs of unified memory with a 512GB SSD. What's most impressed me of this laptop is how powerful it is. I have also used the 2019 15-inch maxed out laptop, and honestly on this machine I have never heard a fan noise or never seen the beach ball loading sign. I do mainly programming for work and do occasional video editing on editors like DaVinci or photo editing on Lightroom. Recently I switched to the video editor DaVinci just because a lot of people have been praising about it, so I just wanted to see what's the hype. I have also used Premiere Pro on this machine, and honestly anything you throw at it, it just takes it. I mostly shoot videos on 4K. It just takes it with no complaints. And when I say I'm using these apps, most of the times they are running at the same time. And the Apple Silicon M1 chip seems to handle them like a breeze. There's no noise, no heating. Unless the temperature you're in is a bit warmer, I have never had any heating issues with this laptop. And this is not even the maxed out spec or maxed out chip that you can get in the M1 lineup. And still it's very powerful. There is still an M1 Max chip, and you can also go for higher CPUs and GPUs if you want more power, but regardless, I'm saying this is still an absolute beast. When it comes to battery life, I can easily get a day out of this with normal using, meaning casual browsing or using less resource heavy apps. If you're using apps that are very resource heavy, I see that it drains a lot faster. I don't know the exact number which it drains, but sometimes I only get 4 hours of or 4.5 hours of use out of this if I'm using more resource heavy apps at the same time. And I think it's justifiable because of how much power this laptop can produce. But generally, if I'm using any resource heavy apps or doing some heavy tasks, I am plugged in, so it's not an issue most of the time. And the 16-inch comes with 140 watts power adapter, which gives you 0 to 50% in 30 minutes, so it comes pretty handy. I have said this in my previous reviews, but the display on this generation MacBooks are amazing. So I've been wanting to get an external display that matches the quality of this display. Honestly, I still couldn't find anything. Of course, I could go for the Pro Display XDR, but that's gonna leave a hole in my bank account. But anything that comes as close as this one is way too expensive. As expensive as getting one of these MacBooks. This display features the Liquid Retina XDR display with mini LED technology with peak brightness of up to 1600 nits with a ProMotion of 120 Hz. ProMotion means depending on what you're viewing on the screen, it changes the refresh rate, so the overall experience is just so smooth. I'm so glad they brought the ports back. For me, it's mainly the SD card reader. I have not used the dongles that I got for my previous Intel Mac since I got this one because most of the ports that I need are already in there. It has the HDMI port, SD card reader, and the audio jack. I don't know who uses the audio jack these days. Most of the headphones are wireless, but hey, it's there. By now, the question is, if the M1 MacBook Pros are already great, why does the M2 MacBook Pro even exist? The clue is the M2 chip. Whether you go for the MacBook Pro 14-inch or 16-inch, there's a significant processor upgrade here. While the M1 Pro offers up to 10 cores on the CPU, with 8 performance cores and 2 efficiency cores, along with up to 16 core GPU, the M2 Pro surpasses that. The M2 Pro now has up to 12 cores with an extra 2 efficiency cores. Its GPU goes up to 19 cores, depending on if you want to go for the 14-inch or the 16-inch model. In simple words, it means the M2 lineup can give you more power. Given that how good this M1 MacBooks already are, I think only a few % of people can genuinely reap the benefits of an M2 chip, unless of course you're upgrading from a very old MacBook or this is going to be your first MacBook. Of course, go for the latest and greatest. And when you also factor in the pricing to this, a 16-inch M2 MacBook Pro with my exact spec would cost you around $600 more than getting an M1 MacBook Pro. So it's not a hard decision for many. At the end, whatever spec you go for, these laptops are a true investment in your productivity and creativity. It will serve you well for years to come. With that being said, I have done some comparison videos of using both the 14-inch and the 16-inch M1 MacBook Pros and my personal experience of using the more portable 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro. I will link it somewhere over here if you're interested. Until then, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have been, thanks for watching.